Om Shanti. So today the topic is making waste into best. And one of the main reasons, besides what Baba said today, that waste is impurity, but also one of the main reasons to eliminate waste is because when we use things in a worthwhile way, it brings happiness. Baba says this in the Muli, but research that's been done says that when we do things with a sense of purpose, then because of purpose and we progress, that brings happiness. The main way to be happy in life is to progress and to use things according to your purpose. And one of the wonderful things Baba gives us is an aim. So we don't need to think about purpose. People in the world, at our retreat center, if we have a cancellation of a retreat and we quickly need to fill a retreat, we do something with the topic on purpose, because this is one of the most popular topics. People don't know what their purpose is, what they're doing in this world, what they're earning, what they're going to work for. But Baba makes it very clear for us, giving us an aim and objective. So if we want to be happy, we need to use everything in a worthwhile way. Everything. Our thoughts, our words, our actions, our relationships and connections, and all our possessions, anything that we have, that we are trustees of. When we can use them in a worthwhile way, we not only get blessings, but we feel the happiness of that. And very often, in Hong Kong, we had a lot of people coming to the center who were very wealthy. And they realized that they were so unhappy because there was so much waste, waste time, waste thinking about gossip, They have a lot of magazines talking about people. If you go to their house and you look at their coffee table, there's all these magazines just talking about other people, who's doing what they're wearing. And when they come to the center, they realize that they've just filled their life with nonsense, with useless things. And so they get a lot of happiness by being able to use what they have to help others, and by just not wasting their time in all this nonsense. And for us, we have so many treasures that we can use, but especially the treasure of knowledge. We can never say, have you ever said since you've been a BK, I've got nothing to do? Can we say, I've got nothing to do? Is it possible? It's not possible, because we can be spreading vibrations, we can be churning knowledge, we can be thinking of ways to do service, we can be going inside and, thinking about things I can enhance in my personality and seeing what can be removed. There's no way we can be bored as a BK. But when I was young, it was what I used to say all the time. I'm bored. I'm bored. I always used to say, I'm bored. But as a BK, we can never say that. And now with also the internet, there are so many wonderful classes, workshops, trainings. There's so many things we can make sure that we're using our time and our thoughts in a worthwhile way. But another aspect we need to be aware of is that, according to the research, 80% of the thoughts we have today, we will have had the same thoughts yesterday. Think about it. Think about it. Most people are just on automatic. They get up at the same time, they do the same things, they say the same things, they go to the same job, they have the same limitations. Nothing different day after day after day. And we can be like that as BKs if we're not living consciously. And that makes our Brahman life a little bit dull. Even if we are getting up for Amrit Vela, if we're not experimenting, experiencing, having newness, if we just get up and sit every day, just out of routine, mostly we just fall asleep, right? Because it takes an effort at that time in the morning to get our creativity flowing. Sometimes, as I was saying yesterday, we can wake up, be fresh, not tired, but the intellect won't do anything. I think something, churn something, just sits there and doesn't give any experience, right? Does it happen to you? It's like lazy intellect. So we need in our life to be creative. We need to have we call this creative meditation. So if we use the method of Rajayoga, we will be creating a thought, use our intellect, churning it, getting an experience that goes into our subconscious that can then come back into our thoughts. So we need to be doing the proper method of Rajayoga based on mind, intellect, sanskars, and understanding this. Because if we're not applying that method, what are we doing? That is meditation, right? That's meditation. Yoga is different. Yoga is connecting. So we can have chit-chat, we can get merged, we can even praise, because that's not bhakti, it's realizing our fortune of what we are attaining and what resource we have through that connection with Baba. But we have so many things to do. We can be sending good wishes to the world. And Baba asks us, every so often, he asks us, can you hear the cries of the devotees? Can you hear the cries of the souls in suffering? Do you hear it? Are you conscious? Are you aware of what's going on in the world and how the devotees also need to find us? Because, as Baba says, this is the fruit of devotion. So they'll only be able to get satisfied when they get the fruit of their devotion, which means all of us have been very, 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 very good devotees, right? We have been really good bhagats, and this is the fruit. But why were we good bhagats? Why? Why were we the number one bhagats, the number one devotees? Why? Why do you think that happened? Huh? We recognize that's later, but how did we come to Baba? Because the more we take from Baba now, when we get to the path of devotion, we will really love God, because we'll remember. Bhakti is that memory of what we attained, and we are hopeful of that attainment. We know the one that we attained from. So I don't know about you, but when I first started BK Live, not so much now, but when I first started, when I used to offer Borg, I used to want to dance. And I often used to dance. And I also used to have this feeling, sitting in front of Baba in meditation in Baba's room, not necessarily in Borg, that I want to prostrate. I want to, because I feel, you are so amazing. I want to. And Baba says, no. I say, I'm going to get you in the Copper Age. So I told Baba, okay, I won't bow to you now, but in the Copper Age, I'm going to bow to you as much as I want. Because there's that feeling. And even the feeling of worshipping the deities. We will be the number one devotees of each other. Right? You will be the deities and I will worship you. So it is recognition, but it's within the cycle. Because we took so much from Baba, and because we loved each other so much and recognized each other, we will worship each other and we'll worship God. So we are the number one devotees, as Baba says, but then we also take the most as the fruit of devotion. So you can see how devotion is in the cycle. It's tied up in the cycle of time. But one thing also we need to be aware of, I don't know if you've read a book by Stephen Covey. What was the name of it? I don't know, but Stephen Covey, he divided time into 4 areas. So one was what's important and urgent, right? Important, urgent. The second is important, not urgent. So we can all imagine what's important and urgent. Maybe you have to pay your bills, you have to, you're sick, so you have to attend to it. Important and urgent, we probably all know. But important and not urgent is where we need to pay attention. So what is important but not urgent? Like what? What is important but maybe not urgent? Important, not urgent. Right. Yeah, budgeting. Budgeting is important. In fact, the bigger part of that is just planning. It's important to plan. It's important, but it's not urgent. If I don't plan, things will happen. It's not like anything will happen at that moment. Same with relationships. Relationships are very important, but often not urgent. We can ignore, our friends, our children, our parents, our partner, but if we do it too long, it will become urgent, right? Same with our health. Our health is important, but not urgent. We're going along, nothing's wrong. I don't care what I eat, whether I exercise or not, whether I get enough sleep or not. I'm okay. But it will become urgent, right? So all the things are important: planning, relationships, our health, meditation. It's not urgent. We can manage without meditating, right? For a while, until we have a crisis. And then our meditation won't work because we have no practice, we have no accumulation. So there's most of the things in our daily life are very important, but not urgent. A wise person will pay attention to what's important and not urgent, so that nothing becomes urgent. In other words, we can do preventative medicine. We take care of ourselves. We find out, about health. We eat a proper diet. We do enough exercise. We do all these things so that we don't get sick. And when I lived in Hong Kong, it's a very polluted place, a very stressful place. But I lived there for 21 years, 22, I went back for a year, but 21 years and never got sick. 21 years. And one of the reasons is because I would go to a naturopath and they do a hair test analysis. They cut some hair and they analyze and see what minerals you're lacking, minerals, vitamins, and they can tell you what's lacking. And so I used to take those things in the form of food, because I thought, why should I pay for food that makes me sick and then buy medicine? It's wasteful, right? So better I buy the food that I need for my body, everyone's body is different, that I need for my body, and eat that so that I don't get sick. And I don't have to pay for medicine. I don't have to waste my time going to doctors. So that's how I live my life. I always think in a preventative way in terms of health. I don't do probably enough exercise. I do a moderate amount, but it's always good. And I think BKs often don't do enough exercise. True? Do you all do enough exercise? How many feel they do enough? Enough. Just enough? Just enough? So we need to pay attention to these things because that's being wise. And our relationships. They say that relationships are like bank balances. We need to deposit in our relationship account. In other words, I may live with people and they don't complain about me, but if I don't make any deposits, like showing some care, spending some time, helping in some way, if I don't make deposits, even in the centres, people I live with, if I don't deposit, sometimes not being aware, we make a withdrawal. Like we do some mistake that affects somebody, or we speak about somebody. We didn't mean to, but we did. But if I've made deposits, they will forgive me because they know that I do care. But if I haven't shown any care, I can't make any withdrawals. And we will make withdrawals, mostly by accident, not by intention, but we will, we do. So it's important that we deposit into the accounts of whoever we're in connection with. Because otherwise also they don't really know us. And one of the things that as BKs we need to build up very strongly is trust in each other and love for each other. And sometimes we don't make the effort to get to know each other so that we can trust each other. I had one sister who her body almost was broken because she was looking after the centre and alone. And she was working too hard and she'd become very fragile. And so then she said, I have to leave the centre. And she felt very ashamed because she felt she failed. I said, what? But I asked her, why didn't you talk to someone when you were going through, this physical deterioration? Why didn't you talk to someone? You have other sisters in centers. She said, I couldn't trust anyone. They might judge me and say that I'm weak, I'm this or that. I was so surprised, and I've heard that from a few sisters in centers, that they say they couldn't trust anyone. And I thought, we are children of God. We are, representing God on earth, and yet we can't trust each other. But trust doesn't just happen. It needs those deposits so that people know they can trust us. So we really need to invest in relationships and love also. Because sometimes we don't know people. Like I was saying, I was telling the story yesterday, right? Yesterday morning, I think, about Didi Nirmala. Sometimes we don't know that people love us because there's 6 ways to experience love. So sometimes I expect one particular type of love, and the other person has a different way of showing love. Some people show love by being strict. Some people show love by being kind and caring. Some people show love by teaching because they think it's a long-term thing. So we have different ways of showing love. So we also need to communicate with each other and invest in these relationships. And in terms of service also, when we make contact with people, we need to nurture those contacts and build a trust with those contacts. So the experience of Taiwan is very interesting, because when I first went there was a sister who attended the Call of the Time with Brother Charlie in Philippines. And when I, arrived in Taiwan, she said, after half an hour of meeting, she said, you can use the apartment, she had a studio apartment. She said, you can use the 3rd floor of this studio for your center. And I said, you don't even know me. I don't know you. How can you just give like that? She doesn't know the bee cave, but she's just giving like that. And she was a very strong personality. One of the strongest women I know, I would say. So I was a little bit cautious because it could be wonderful. It could be something else. So I said to her, I will come and stay with you for 1 week, and I'll bring someone who can translate, because she didn't even speak much English, very little English. So there could be a lot of misunderstanding. So I said, I'll bring someone who can, translate for us. So we went to stay with her. One sister from Hong Kong came with me, and we went and stayed with her. So the first thing came to food, right? We're in her house. She's a wonderful cook. She loves to entertain, to give food. And I said to her, we usually cook our own food, and we're happy to cook for you. But we don't eat food cooked. I tried to say it in a nice way. We don't eat food cooked by other people. She said, you're weak, like that. She just said like that, you're weak. Our masters, our Buddhist masters, she's Buddhist, can eat meat and they're still powerful. So I said, our power is purity. And it's a very subtle power, right? So anyway, the sister I was with, they worked together. So she would help the sister cook, like get the things and everything. So we worked it out. But she's a PR manager. PR, public relations manager. So how she could turn things around. So she used to organize her friends, like 30 of her friends, to come together for a book club. She held a book club on Buddhism, and so she used to invite us to talk at that book club. And at the book club, she told all of those people that I am so pure, Morni is so pure, she won't eat your food. Something we are so shy of. Because she's PR manager, right? So she can turn something that can be very insulting into something so great. She's so pure, she won't even eat your food. So she was really clever. So ultimately, we also took that place on the 3rd floor, and she brought two groups of people to our retreat centre in Australia, and we looked after them. It was very good. But she also came and stayed for 1 month, and she came to Muli every day, and there were only the BKs and her, and she's not a BK, right? Just the BKs and her. But what was wonderful is she got such a trust in us, because she could see how we live, how we interact with each other. She could see that, we're really good people. So now that we had to register, we needed 30 people to register with the government, and she got 30 of her friends because they had trust in her, right? And because she had trust in us. So see what trust can do. Trust can really do anything. And even some people, they have contributed to the yagya, not BKs, but they've helped with the hospital, the trauma centre. They do the outreach program with the hospital, village outreach. But sometimes things happen, even in the BK world, that shouldn't happen, right? It happens. We are, apparently we're 2 million people now. I heard 2 million people, I don't know. So out of millions of people, there's going to be someone does something naughty, right? So this brother came to know of that, so he didn't want to give anything anymore because he didn't trust us, right? He didn't trust us. But I said to him, but if you look at the BKs and then you compare with any other organization, I still think we do very, 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 very well. You see what we do to serve other people. You see the BKs, how they give their whole life. They give everything they have to Baba. And he knows the BKs. He's actually Janti's cousin. So he knows the BKs. So, yeah, we have to build trust back in people, but they have to trust us. So we have to work on being trustworthy and building trust in others. So he will help with projects that he's sure, like the India one or some things like that, where he knows where the money is going. That's a good start. But he wants to give. He's got a lot of money to give. He gives to many organizations, but he gives more to the organizations that have good management. Understandably, right? He's a businessman. So he gives to the organization with good management. So we have to win people's trust with the way we live our lives, with the way we manage everything that we do. And we all need to take that on personally. Don't say, oh, it's the yagya, they have to do this, they have to do that. No, it's me. And if we can keep the trust of that person in us, they trust us. So I tell him where he can put his money, that I'm sure nothing's going to happen. So we need to build up these relationships with people because they want to give. It's not that they don't want to give. They want to give. But they have to, be it's like they want to do the right thing. Otherwise, they'll give to another organization that's doing the right thing. But I know in my heart how good the BKs are. And maybe 5% there's some things happening. Maybe 5%, but 95% we are doing very well on all levels. Purity, on our management, our finances, our honesty, our dedication, definitely 95%. So, we need to bring that trust into others. And this is something I learned also from Dadi Prakashmani, because at one point I felt that you can't really trust anyone. Anyone, anytime, will say something negative about you or forget to do something or not do something for no good reason. So I said to Dadi Prakashmani, we were going in a car to Ahmedabad, and I said, a little van, and I said to Dadi, about this, and she said, you can look at it the other way. You can say, I don't trust anyone, or you can think about it. Actually, most people you can trust 95%. Right? So it's realistic to trust people 95%. And she gave the example of the driver. She said, we're in the car and we trust that this driver will get us to Ahmedabad. But we should also check if he's okay. Does he need to stop for tea? Is he okay? Did he get some good sleep last night? So I really appreciated that, because sometimes we trust people. It's just like we dump it. We get rid of it. Okay, you do this and I can forget it, and like that. I have done that. But we need to trust in a way that we care and support as well. So like with the driver, she didn't just trust him blindly or carelessly. She cared and made sure that he was okay. And it's true that we can trust most people 95%. And what about ourselves? Can I trust any of you 100%? 100%. Anyone? 100%. I don't want you to trust me 100%. I'm not 100% trustworthy. I could make a mistake. I could forget something. I could say something that I didn't realize, Don't trust me 100%. I'm still becoming that. So why should I expect any of you to be 100% trustworthy? Nobody's perfect. So I really appreciate this, teaching from Dadi, because it's very practical. Otherwise, somebody does one little thing and you say, I can't trust them. One little thing. Maybe they just said something negative, or they forgot to do something, or, like that. So when I went back, I was living in Hong Kong. When I went back to Hong Kong, the sister I lived with, I heard that she said something negative about me, right? She said something negative about me. In the past, before Dadi's lesson, I would have thought, see, can't trust anyone. But instead, I said, that's okay. That's her 5%, no problem. I hope she gives me 5%. So I love this teaching of trust, Until we're perfect, until anything's perfect, don't expect 100%, but most people, 95%. Do you agree? Most people. Some people a bit less, then adjust it. Some people are known for something, then adjust it. Don't be blind, but adjust accordingly. So when we're able to trust, it also saves a lot of time. Because We can delegate. Some people can't delegate, can't give people jobs to do, service to do, because they don't trust anyone. They think only I can do it. Only I'll do it properly. Only I know how to do it well. Is that what Baba teaches us? Can we change the world like that? No. So, to save a lot of time, we trust. We delegate, but give that care, not in a suspicious way, a doubting way, a caring way. I was scared to follow up also because I thought they might think I doubt them. It's not that. Don't give that feeling of doubt, but just care and make sure that they're clear, they know what's going on. So that's a big time saver, being able to delegate. And people love the opportunity to serve, right? I think if I ask here, if there's anyone, I won't ask, but if there was anyone that doesn't do any service and doesn't want to do any service, I doubt there's even one. I doubt. Because we all love to do service. And we want to do service, and we want to be trusted. Because being trusted feels good, doesn't it? It feels good when someone trusts us. In fact, it can uplift people when we trust them. And also we can develop their trustworthiness. Maybe someone's not that capable. Maybe they're not so experienced. So we might need to give trust with assistance and develop their ability to be able to handle that role, that situation. But definitely this is the way of the future. The way of the future and the way of all management, the way organizations are run now is teamwork. And even now that Didi's left the body, Didi left the body, and it took 8 people to fill her role. 8 people. She was 1, we are 8. And so it's really good because, we couldn't do what Didi does. And so what we're developing is this trusting relationship on small things, on, when any situation comes to, like it would go to Didi, it comes to the 8, and we share and talk and try to reach agreement, but it's slow and steady. We have no problems, but it's great that we are starting. We've only been working together for just over a year, so I can imagine after 2 years, 3 years, how we build up our ability, for one thing, and also our trust and love and support for each other. And that supports the regions, right? It supports the whole region. So the way, and now Sister Janti, Didi, Mohini, they're also doing the same. They're delegating because it's too big. Now the yajna is too big. We have so many centers, so many BKs, and we don't have dadis that we don't have Didi anymore that we can just write to, right? We all used to write to Didi, all of us. Somehow she managed to respond and know each and one of us and care for each one of us. So that's gone now. So we are building up systems in all the regions to support, because also things are getting very, upside down. There's a lot of things happening, earthquakes and wars and all these things. So the more we can, build up teams to think through what we can do, then, and Baba says that in the golden age, we won't have advisors. So if we can build, our wisdom, our abilities, then we can more easily play those roles in the future without advisors. So when we're talking about saving time, Baba has put in place not just a structure, but dharana, the virtues and the powers that we learn so that we can cooperate, we can, do things together in the best way that we can. So we have half an hour left for questions. So you can start thinking of questions. Are you going to write them down or ask? It's better if they write them down, yeah? Because people are shy to speak out. So you can tell them how to do the questions. And just while she's coming, one more thing that Dadi Janki said, very good point to do with our topic today. She was asked, what is spirituality? What would you say? What is spirituality? She said, spirituality is to ask yourself, what should I be doing now? Actually, that's a very good check. Whether I'm wasting time, like somebody's late for a meeting or something. I can be using my time thinking, why are they late? They're always late, like that. Or I can just be having good wishes and holding the space and, being patient. What should I be doing? It's a very good question. But that's really how we live our life. Thinking, what should I be doing now? Now.